Is it harder to be a female producer than a male producer? This goes for beat makers, musicians of any type. Is it more difficult if you're a woman? My answer is I do believe so. This video is not intended to start a war of the sexes or start a bunch of fights. This video is intended to kind of explore the differences between being a male producer versus a female producer. I noticed very early on when I started getting into this that I would receive unsolicited feedback on my music all the time. But these same people, if I actually looked at how they interacted throughout these platforms otherwise, would not give unsolicited feedback to males that objectively didn't have beats that were as good as mine. And I couldn't figure out why that was. I stumbled upon this video. I highly suggest that you check it out. It's very good, much better than this one. But he talks about this specific thing, and he actually interviews some women, and they report the same exact thing. Why do we, on average, do this? Because males aren't the only ones that do this. Females do it to each other as well. I'm into coding, which is a very male-dominated field, and I found myself on YouTube trying to get this tutorial on coding, and I was skipping over women that were in the thumbnail. Why was I doing that? Is it that I don't expect that women can code? I am a woman. Why does this exist in all of our minds? That women are less credible or less knowledgeable or less able to do these things. This guy actually ran a poll on his Twitter.
I created a poll asking people if they thought that the reason for the male-female disparity in music production was because women were treated differently, or if it was because women were born different. Close to a quarter of the 2,400 people who filled out that poll said that they believed that women were just born differently with a disadvantage. I also created a private poll for female producers asking if they believe that there's a biological reason for the disparity. Not one of them said yes.
Since this is a big deal, does it affect anyone? I think it does. It affects women because they're less likely to go into STEM fields. They're less likely to go into these technical fields like producing. And I don't think that there's a real reason for it. Although there are a lot of differences between male and female brains, the technical aspects of a lot of jobs are not one of them.
So if we are going to add up the amounts of gray matter in music-centric parts of the brain, it turns out that there is actually a biological advantage. To women. Turns out that in the learning centers for language and hearing, women actually have 11% more neurons than men do. In another study, premature baby girls who got music therapy had fewer complications, grew faster, and were able to be discharged from the hospital faster than those who did not. Music therapy had no effect or difference on premature baby boys.
So if women have more of an inclination toward music than men, then why is a woman in music considered less credible than a male in music? I think it all comes down to our own biology. On the side, I'm extremely interested in this stuff. The reason that I'm interested in it is because we all fall victim to this. Even males fall victim to this. If they express more feminine traits, they are also considered less credible in a more technical industry. Look at the things that we played with as kids. Women would get a lot of dolls and babies, kitchen sets. Where the boys, they had the toys that I wanted to play with personally. They got Legos and builder kits, computer games that I think jogged their mind into being a little bit more technical. When I was a kid, I loved video games. My two female cousins also loved video games, and that wasn't very expected. We were the queens of Street Fighter. I still to this day love to play Call of Duty. Some traditional values about male and female roles were indoctrinated into me that I can't let go when I was a kid. Even though I hold some of those views, I still don't think that there's that much of a difference in the technical parts of our brain. In fact, the original computers were actually women. Women were expected back then to just run numbers. They were the original computers. Women for years have been involved in these technical fields, yet they just don't tend to get as much credibility as men. Does this mean that we should be mad at men? No. Men have a whole different set of problems that I'm never going to be able to understand, really, because I'm not a man. I navigate the world as a woman, so I can only see the problems that I have as a woman. But I know that men are faced with a ton of challenges that are exclusive to just them. Like I said, both sexes deserve equal respect. I think moving forward, we should all give women more of a chance. Instead of me skipping over the coding videos that are run by women, maybe I should just watch one. Next time that you're listening to someone else's music, If it does happen to be a woman, even if the music is bad, maybe don't offer her unsolicited feedback or advice. If she asks, go crazy. Open your mind to the fact that women can do a lot of the things that men can do. Can we become construction workers? I guess, but we're not going to be as good at that. But when it comes to technical aspects of work, when it comes to coding, when it comes to STEM fields, when it comes to music, women are just as capable as men. This wasn't directed to any of my subscribers. You subscribe, so this doesn't affect you, but it's definitely something that affects a lot of people, men and women. So it's just something to be aware of and something that I thought was interesting and that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you guys so much for watching.